Sally, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us here at SuperReturn CFO COO. You've been talking today specifically about diversity. What does it look like, diversity, in 2021?
Well, diversity, as how my company defines it, is really not just about diversity in the background, in gender, in race, nationalities. But we really want to look at diversity at all rungs of the organization and make sure that it's adequately dispersed throughout the organization. Our company, we have 5 offices globally, so we are quite intent in our diversity goals and making sure that we are having a diverse pool of talent that come together to share their views on a weekly basis and actually be inclusive in that discussion.
You want diversity, cognitive diversity, a diverse way of thinking.
Diverse way of thinking. I think diversity, equity, and inclusion brings a lot of benefits to the future and also to the business. It definitely cultivates innovation. It increases the decision-making process to make it better. It also allows for a diverse view of how businesses should be done in different parts of the world. So it allows you to really innovate and think about how you're going to the market, and listening to all these diverse views is going to make that company that much more agile to capture and maximize opportunities. So this is really the future, and it is important to cultivate that.
Diversity is key to success. It's not just a nicety.
Yes, it is not just a nicety anymore. And I think a lot of the investors are also looking for how we are cultivating this within the firm. And even the young recruits that are coming through the ranks, they are asking us, how are we dealing with diversity? How do we create an environment that's inclusive? What is the impact and the purpose we want to have on the society? So, so this is something that we can no longer ignore, and it should be, of course, my dream, my vision is that this becomes a very natural part of the process, but there's still a lot of work to be done.
If it is key, how do you go about doing it? It starts, I guess, at a recruitment level, doesn't it?
Yes, it does start at the recruitment level. It is a fact that there is not enough kind of women, let's say, in the private equity space. And we need to start including them in the recruitment process and really requesting for that talent pool to be, cultivated. You can start with recruitment process, internship programs. It can go beyond that if you really want to even just help the younger generation understand private equity as a space to get into, finance as a space to get into. So, so the recruitment process is key, and you have to be quite intentional and purposeful about the process to allow it to really get the results you want.
And talking about going right to that younger generation, perhaps pre-internship even, into colleges and schools, it's really doing what you say there. It's highlighting this as a possible career to perhaps sections that have never seen it that way.
Yes. And oftentimes, we tend to see that, when you want to recruit someone into private equity, they must have a similar private equity direct exposure. I think the industry can go to become more open-minded about kind of transferable skill sets from different industries, helping younger generation understand this is one option, but how do you eventually get into it ultimately if you do something else as well? That could also be an opportunity there. So not just with colleges, but even, I would say, younger, we can already start introducing this. More and more people are allocating to private equity. It's becoming an asset class that's more accessible these days. So it's definitely going to, be good to educate on that.
And with companies looking to invest in those quite disruptive areas, disruptive industries, ironically, they need those youngsters who've got a different way of thinking to understand that world as well.
Yeah, there is an element of that. A lot of the sort of disruptive technology that have come out over the last 10 years, a lot of people know about it. A lot of youngsters are using it. They definitely can give us an input into where the trend is going. A lot of private equity is also understanding the macro landscape. So there's definitely a space to create this conversation, even if that's not happening today, to let the whole firm kind of have a discussion around where investment themes are going, where macro trends are going. I mean, the pandemic has accelerated and changed so much, including human behavior. So having that connectivity and discussion is going to be quite a valuable thing within the firm.
You talked there about the pandemic. That's also changed the way people work. What have you seen in terms of sort of the introduction of perhaps hybrid working and those sort of things in terms of how it changes people's desire or perception of working in the industry as well?
I don't see too much a change in changing the perception of working in the industry per se, but when we were thinking about whether we were to bring everyone back or not, we actually sent a survey out to the whole firm and just asked them the question, what do you think? And you know, a lot of times the team is pretty logical and they know that there has to be some sort of coming back to the office as well. So basically most of them said 2 days, you know, we just work from home 2 days and 3 days we'll work in the office. And that was actually what we implemented. So we all know that there is this trial period. We don't really know where it's going to go, but where is the pandemic going to lead us? And when you have a global team, the realities of what's happening in Europe is quite different maybe for an Asian team versus a US team. So we just have to be quite flexible in thinking about this. Nothing is set in stone, but having a clear policy, at least for now, is important.
In terms of recruitment, just going back to that, it's interesting to think about the candidates you want to see are the very best candidates. And there is a thought that those candidates are actually looking for jobs that have more purpose now. It's not just about the paycheck. You want to get those good candidates in, so you need to present them with that, don't you?
Yes, I mean, private equity is pretty hot right now in terms of hiring, right? There's a huge deal activity, so there's a huge demand. At the same time, you know, if you see the reports, there are about 40% of the global workforce that's looking to leave just because things have changed so much. So we're really in this sort of perfect storm where we have to retain talent, we also have to attract talent. And so, yes, they are looking beyond the paycheck. They're looking for an environment that actually they would flourish in, the growth opportunities within that, but also what does the company stand for and what does it mean if I join a company? And for some of the younger candidates, we are also seeing that they really want to feel seen by management team. They want to feel like they can make it, contribute and impact the organization in the direction it's policy making. And I think this is amazing because then you have quite a lot of involvement, people wanting to share ideas. And I really believe in this about being connected, you know, within the company, because that really makes a company agile, and the agile company is what will kind of drive forward.
You said there about being connected. Yes. It's lovely for us to be back connected, back at a real event. Yeah. How does it feel to be here and be able to have those conversations in person again?
It's amazing. I think it's what's kind of brought to light today is that every company, every business is really going through sort of this watershed moment, right? They have to make a lot of decisions from the macro to the micro level, and there's a lot of different ways of doing it. There's a lot of philosophies and theories behind it. And we still have to wait and see, but I think the approach to have here is to observe, to listen, and to be ready to tweak when you need to. It's definitely been great to be here.
Share some ideas.
And share some ideas and actually exchange on a personal level. Definitely builds kind of a long-term relationship, which is what private equity has always been.
We've really enjoyed having you here too, Sally. Thank you so much for joining us. Great to talk to you.
Thank you so much, Emma. Thank you.